Hello there, and welcome to this video solving tactics on chesstempo.com with the Advocate. It's been a hell of a long time since I've done this. Actually, I haven't been doing tactics, I haven't been playing chess, I haven't been doing anything just because I've been very, very sick. Couldn't eat anything for a week or so. So I'm expecting this to be a bit of a rough session, to be honest. But that's okay. So I'm thinking I want to chase this queen away from the defense of f7. Bishop d2, bishop f2 comes to mind. Queen d7. And then hmm. Rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, check. Rook takes, rook takes. Yeah, the problem is rook takes, rook takes. Can I take with the queen? Rook takes, rook takes. Queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, check. King g8, rook takes e8, rook takes. And I'm down the exchange. Bishop f2, queen d7, then rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, check. King g8. I'm down the exchange. Bishop d2, queen d7, bishop takes a5, rook e8. I mean, no, because if bishop takes a5, then bishop takes h6. Bishop takes d8, rook takes d8. Huh. So yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss. as to what to do. There's no threat. He has no threat. Play rook. I can play bishop f2, bishop f2, queen d7, rook e2, rook e1. Bishop f2, queen, bishop g, bishop h4. If bishop takes, rook here. Huh. Bishop f2. This is taking too long. If I could somehow get to the g8 square, but no. Bishop f2, queen d7. Bishop takes. Rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. That's a pawn win. Wait. The king doesn't have the g8 square. Wait, so can I take rook takes? Rook takes, queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, check. And then he would have to give me his queen. And I could take the queen. Then come here with check. King f8, rook takes, bishop takes d8. Wait, just let me check that again. Rook takes c5, rook takes c5, queen takes c5, pawn takes, bishop takes check. Queen e7, bishop takes check. Wow. Yeah, for some reason I was not calculating that the king didn't have the g8 square. So that after pawn takes, bishop takes check, black must give up the queen. Queen check, king e8, and then I have bishop check. Winning the king, winning the rook, or winning the bishop. If bishop check, if rook check, Then bishop takes here, so it's better to just take the bishop. Wow. Okay. That took me so long. So fucking long. Okay, there's queen check picking up on b2. I need to defend against f2, which would pick up my rook. So how do I defend my f2 pawn? Or my f7 pawn? Queen check and pick up on d5 with equality. There's no more aggressive option, I don't believe. So queen check, and then pick up on d5 to protect f7. Okay. This was a very low-rated problem too. Okay, fine. Fuck me. The problem after any continuation is that he's going to pick up here with check. So knight takes. Knight takes, pawn takes. If rook takes, knight takes check, queen takes, then queen takes here, check is the issue. So honestly, I feel like I should just take, pawn takes, and then move out of the way with my bishop. One, two, three, 1, 2. I'm up the exchange. So knight takes, pawn takes. I could play queen takes, rook takes, and then I'm up the exchange in 2 pieces. But I don't think that's enough. That's equality at best. But knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes. And if pawn takes queen, rook takes check, king takes, and then rook takes d7. So knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes, queen takes rook, pawn takes, rook takes check, and then rook takes on d7. And if knight takes e7, knight takes e2 check, I come back with the knight to pick up. Threatening to pick up my rook. This happened to me recently in a Lichess game. Save the rook, lose the knight. Or, yeah, save the rook, lose the knight. Save the knight, lose the rook. And afterwards, after queen takes here, I'm pinned, actually. So honestly, the best thing seems to be like rook takes e3 at first glance. Rook takes here, queen takes here, b3. Rook takes here, queen takes here, b3, bishop d3, b2. Rook takes, queen takes, b3, bishop c1, rook check, picking up the bishop. So bishop d4 would be the way to go. But then b2, and he can't stop rook a1 check. Well, no, he can't stop rook a1 check. Well, no, b2, he can't stop rook a1 check. Because the pawn's on b2, he can't protect the a1 square. So yeah, I think I just get my piece back. I take a pawn and then I lose a pawn. I take a pawn, I lose a piece. He takes a pawn, he loses a piece. And I'm still going to have these passed pawns. So yeah, I think just b3, b2, b1 should be enough. But wait. Rook takes, queen takes, b3, bishop d3, or bishop d4 comes with the threat of mate here. So what about rook takes, pawn takes, then rook takes a2, then queen takes g4, then b3. b2, b1. So b3, how's he going to get over? Rook takes, pawn takes, rook takes a2, queen takes g4, b3, queen d1, b2, if king g2, king f2, if the king steps to the second, I promote with check. If the queen gives a check here, king comes here and queen takes here, I play rook a1 check, king g2, and queen b1 queens. I think this is correct. Rook takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Queen takes isn't forced, but it's the only real test. Otherwise, I'm just fine. Rook takes, pawn takes, rook takes here, queen takes here. b3. There's just no way for him to stop. Rook takes here. No. and this is a perpetual. Oh no, not a perpetual. There's another fork here on f2. So anywhere he steps, I win material. I did consider setting up something like that, but I saw the one winning line. So rook takes a2 doesn't work. Queen takes g4. b3. f6. g6. Queen yes. Queen check, king h7, queen f7, or queen f8. This is exactly the kind of mistake I would make in a game. Disappointing. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be doing very badly today. For today and the foreseeable future. Just taking a 1 week break from, or a 2 week break, and essentially not eating for that long is too much. Was too much. So if I take on b2, he can take on c4. I don't want to lose a piece. There's rook takes f, or bishop takes the rook on f1. Trying to sell my piece for the highest price. Bishop takes here. Knight takes. I can run away. Bishop takes. Rook takes here. Bishop takes g2 check. King takes g2. Rook takes. So I'm a rook. I have a rook and the exchange for the queen, which is not enough. What about bishop here? If rook takes here, I'll take here. He'll play rook takes check. Bishop here. Bishop here, knight takes, queen takes, obviously, but bishop here, rook takes. I would have to play bishop takes d1, and then rook takes b8 check. Rook takes b8. Rook takes d1, wins a piece. So I'm still losing a piece there. Yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss yet again. Bishop here, rook here. If rook takes, queen e1. There's no way for me to get back the material. He can just take on b3, in fact. So getting the exchange. Oh, fuck. Queen takes here, rook takes here. Or knight takes. No, if knight takes, I'll take here. Queen takes, rook takes. Knight g4, queen takes g4. Queen takes, rook takes. Rook b4, rook takes b4, queen takes here. No. Bishop e2. Queen takes e2. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yep. So now I guess just bishop takes g2 check and take here. Or should I take here first? Hitting the knights. Take here. And if queen takes here, take here. Pawn takes. No, that doesn't seem right. So I guess I should take here. I couldn't tell what the difference between c takes b4, because now he has queen takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, and this feels like it's the exact same. Sacrifice my left nut. There's no sacrifice here. You're just dead. Are you not? Oh no, this is 2 rooks for the queen. 1, 2, 3. How do you end up 2 rooks for the queen here? How is this 2 rooks for the queen? Oh, because you don't sell the bishop for free, you sell the bishop for it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, for some reason I just couldn't keep that balanced in my head. Rook check, king e5, rook e8 check. Would be checkmate. So then rook h6 check. He needs to go to g7, f7, or e7. After either of them, I have rook check here. The king would be forced to f6. Then I can give rook f7 check, king e5, rook e5 check, king back to f7. So rook h6 check, king g7, rook h7 check, king f6, rook f8 check, king e5. Rook check. Rook check, king g7, pawn check. King f7. I can bring my knight in then. I can play rook f check right away, but then rook f7. But then rook h6 check would win a piece. So rook check. And he would need to play king e7 or king g7. Play then rook h8. Go away, go away. Rook h1 h8. But no. Rook check, king here. What about rook check again? King here. Rook f7 check. King's forced to e5. And I'm missing the knockout blow. Somewhere there. Somewhere in that line I'm missing a move. Rook check, king f7, rook check, king f, rook check, king e5. And I'm missing the move that ends the game. Somewhere. Rook h7 check, king here. Rook check, king here. It's just a perpetual. Wait. Can I take at some point there? Can I check? King here, check, king here. Like, for example, check, king here. Check, king here. And then can I give this check? Check, king here. Knight check. Rook takes. Rook check. King here. Knight check. Rook takes. Rook check. King here is forced. Rook check. King back, and then rook e6 mates. So rook h7 check, rook f6. Knight takes check. Knight check. Rook takes. Rook takes is not forced. Yes, it is. Well, if king goes to e5, rook check, king here. Rook check, king here. So rook check, king here. Knight check, king here. Rook takes d7. Doesn't work. I can repeat the position and I can give the knight check with the rook on e8. So rook check, king here, rook check, king here, rook check on e8. King back here. Then I can give the knight check. Then rook takes. And then rook e6 mate. Okay, yeah. Rook h7 check, king f6. Rook f8 check, king e5. Rook check, king back to f6. Now my rook is on h7 and my rook is on e8. Then I check. And that's mate, so rook takes is forced. And then rook e6 is mate. That's extremely difficult for me. For me, that was really difficult. Knight d5 check is another move that's made in this position, but like one knight d5 check. Yeah, you can't play knight d5 check right away. Just gives up a piece. Anyway, such a difficult problem. Okay, check. King here. Rook takes. King takes. King c2. King e1, king e3. a3. Check. King takes. No, check. Don't take here, take here. If you take here, king d3 wins, or king d2 wins. So check, king d, check, takes, king c, king here or king here, a3, takes, takes, a2, king b2. And stop the pawn. And you're stopping the pawn in every line. I think the critical line is after a3, b3 check. If you take on b3, you're losing. So you take on c3. And now, maybe you're winning. No, you're not winning. Takes here, 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 here. And black will make it in time. Next problem. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, so if I take there, he's going to take here. I feel like I recognize this problem. Can't attack this or anything. I could just take that. take the pawn. What I could do is I could take the pawn with the queen. Queen takes pawn. If rook takes, then I can take here. And he needs to solve the problem of his rook, and he also needs to solve the problem of his knight. If knight takes here, bishop takes. And if he takes here, he needs to solve the problem of his queen. Or if he takes here, I take here. And he needs to solve the problem of his bishop, and he also needs to solve the problem of his rook. So bishop takes, rook takes, and rook goes away. Then I have bishop here. So queen takes pawn, queen takes. Now if I take there, so I should take with the bishop. He takes with the rook, I take with the knight. Take, take. I think I've had that problem before. Mistakes made, knight takes c6. Yeah, definitely the most natural move, but it doesn't win material, I guess. Yeah, it's just not winning material. Keeps equality. Okay, so if bishop check here, king here. So what I need to play, I think, is c6. To keep him out. So if bishop check, king here, king here, takes, takes, and I lose. But c6, and he can't enter the position. Someone's playing c5. c5 with the idea of bishop takes c5, bishop takes c5, pawn here, I guess. But the problem with this move, I think, is actually this here. And white is in time to stop the pawn. And you can never take these. Or can you? Yes, you can. If the king were here, you couldn't. But with the king here, you can. So I wonder why that's not... I wonder why c5 is not a viable answer. Maybe because of pawn takes, not bishop takes. So now after pawn here, pawn here, pawn here, the bishop just comes here to stop. Yeah. So c5 doesn't work not because of bishop takes. If bishop takes, it works. But if pawn takes, it does not. Rook d2. Rook d2, c5, rook takes d3, c7, king f8, d7, king e7. c5. I don't like it. I think it might need to be played, but I don't like it. Rook takes rook d2, d7. Ooh, d7. Rook d2, d7, rook takes d7, d8, queens. Rook check, king f. Rook d2, d7, rook takes. Same story. Knight takes g2. Doesn't do anything. Knight takes g2, d7. I'm not in time to stop the pawn. Huh. What are you supposed to do? How do you stop d7? Or do you just give up the rook for it? Rook check. King h1, rook d2 would threaten the bishop and it would threaten mate, so you don't have d7. You don't have time for d7. So king f1, rook takes here, d7, rook check. Wait, no. Rook takes here, d7, queens. So rook check here, king here, rook here, d7, rook takes, d8, queens. And then I'm a pawn and a knight for the rook. Rook a7. But I'm still losing there. Rook a7, rook c7. If rook takes, pawn takes, I can't stop promotion. How do you do it? How can you do it? How can you stop this pawn? Knight here, pawn here. There's no way to get my knight to cover the f2 square somehow. No, the only thing I see is rook takes g2 and going at it. A pawn up. Here. d7. Here, d7, rook takes. Yeah, and then d7, rook takes, promotes, rook takes, rook takes. There's a perpetual, what? King f, what? There's a perpetual? I don't see a perpetual here. Someone commented that 3d7 and it says that king f3. It says 3 king f3 secures a perpetual. But I think it means knight f3. Knight f3, d8 queens, check. King g check, king f check. Okay. Yeah, so knight f3 is the perpetual. Okay, so knight check, queen takes here. Pawn takes, rook takes check, or rook check, I don't know. Okay, so threatening my bishop, threatening my knights. I could take, pawn takes, take, pawn takes, knight check, king f8, queen check, king e, rook check. No, rook doesn't have the check. E file's blocked. Play queen here. Bishop takes, no. Rook here, bishop takes. So the best idea I see right now is knight check. Queen takes, king takes here, queen takes here. That's my idea at the moment. There's also knight h6. Rook takes here. Queen b2. Needs to save his knight, needs to save his rook. And that should preserve material balance. Knight here. The rook moves. What am I going to do with my bishop? Maybe bishop f1. Yeah, bishop f1 seems good. I don't see anything else, so. Queen g5. Threatening checkmate. Queen g5. If rook takes, rook check is mate. Yep. This is again just like a problem where I think it's a defensive problem trying to save material. And it's fucking not. Rook c6. If king d7, rook check, king takes, I take on here. Yeah, and he can never win my piece. I've had that problem before. If I promote, he can take. So queen c7, hitting the bishop and hitting the pawn. Queen c, and also threatening rook b8. So queen c7, king f8. Rook b8. Threatening rook takes d8. c2, rook takes d8, bishop takes, queen takes check. Queen check. King h7. And then I have to deal with the c2 pawn. So no. So I was thinking instead queen c7, king f8, rook b7. But the bishop can move away. Say f6, the bishop can move away to f6. Rook here, king here, rook here, queen here. What about queen here, rook a8? Nah, rook check. He doesn't have time to go for promotion. So queen here, king f8, rook b7, bishop f6, rook b8, c2, rook takes, king takes, queen takes check. And I mean, I have succeeded in winning a piece, I guess. Right? So, but I'm not winning. I could change move orders a little bit. I could go queen e5. Or I could play rook b7, c2, rook takes, c1 queens, queen takes d8 check, king g7, queen a8 queens, queen f1, queen check, queen g2 covers. That should be okay. So instead of queen here, rook b7. This way, if king f8, then I'll have queen e5, hitting the bishop and trying to pick up here. But then, and then picking up here, yeah. But he can still just give up the bishop. Bishop here, rook here, queen takes, queen takes. So in both lines, it just feels like I'm winning the bishop, not promoting. Queen c7. Yeah, oh, that's seriously it. The line ends there. Queen c7. Motherfucker. Yeah. The bishop falls, but it's just equality. You're not actually like winning the endgame. I need to save my knight. The b8 square is controlled by this bishop. If I play knight here... Okay, this is another problem that I've had before, actually. I think I got it wrong, too. So I need to run away with my knight. And then after bishop takes here, there's also knight takes here. I can play knight d6, covering f7. But no, if I play knight d6, he's going to play bishop takes d6, bishop takes d6, and then he's on f7 3 times. So the problem here is knight here, bishop takes here, and if knight d6, bishop takes d6 will win the f7 pawn. But it's not clear to me if there is some other way to go about it. Knight c4, bishop takes d5. Could play knight a3, I guess. I can play knight a3, I can play knight b6. I think I have to play knight b6. Attacking the bishop and getting back my pawn on d4. Getting the pawn on d4. Okay, so knight here. Ah, knight takes. Well, now knight d6 is more of a possibility. But wait, there's this revealed attack now. So I need to play rook c8, covering. And I think this was the mistake I made last time. Rook c8 to protect the knight. Queen takes. Yeah. Because you can't. With bishop takes. Oh, well, I suppose with bishop takes, rook c8. Yep. And knight takes. Black is threatening knight check, queen takes, bishop takes a8. So you need to play rook c8. Okay, actually, you know what? That's it for this session. I'll leave you with this problem. Just leave it up. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm sorry that this was such a slow and, to be frank, disappointing session in general. I'm just sort of rambling, and there's not a lot of high quality chess being played here. I can feel that. But it was a difficult session. I was so fucking sick that I just couldn't eat for 5 days straight, throwing up constantly. And so now I'm just sort of trying to get back into chess again. Rook takes, queen takes, pawn takes, h2, rook takes h2, knight f3 check. Rook takes. Seems reasonable. All right. Take care. See you next time. Until then, best of luck with your chess journey, and have fun. Goodbye.